Deleted session, October 22, 1973. Good evening. The week in its own way has been quite successful and went rather as I expected. Several important breakthroughs were made concerning beliefs. Rupert saw how being away from his desk and the house worked creatively to his advantage, as per the right to your mother's. Ralph noted in Center Villa. They said, and the earlier work around the block. There is no doubt of the many improvements made up of a series of inner improvements that do not show as yet, except as the time element presents itself. He gets over here, Ralph noted, apartment 5. They said, quicker and easier. The legs do not appear straighter as yet, however, Ralph noted, which Jane has been concerned about. They said, but the change of tempo there reflects greater inner coordination. The soreness in the knees I mentioned as a possibility last week, but it discouraged him nevertheless. Those joints are definitely being loosened, and the unevenness sometimes presented in walking is the result of new balances being set up gradually as the knees are released. Care is being taken that the release is fairly well balanced, but at the same time, one joint may be more released than another in a given moment, causing the feelings of unfamiliarity. As he knows the same is happening with the arms, but he is not working on them, as indeed he has told himself. The dreams were meant to encourage him and to show him that the inner order of events does assure his improvements. The promise in the dream made by you that the events, Ralph noted, of Jane's great flexibility, they said, were indeed happening, represented your inner knowledge that he would make it now, and his own realization of the fact, as well as the body's acknowledgement. The first part of the dream involved extant physical release and manipulability. The second part concerned new rooms, all rich avenues open to him, both as a result of the release and yet bringing forth the release. The rooms represented exploration, new areas of creativity in which he is even now involved. The suggestions I gave, Ralph noted, in recent sessions, they said, amounted to a schedule of activities, calculated to give room to creative and physical expression. Common sense applies. If he dances or cleans the apartment, then his natural impulses are being physically directed in those fashions. He does not have to feel that he must go for his walk when physically he feels like cleaning, for example. The badminton, unless he is in a relaxation period, is excellent, however, and should be maintained because of the opportunity for speed. Now, it is the only way he can experience some, except for the swinging of the arms. The schedule was meant to ensure some physical activity each day. Those days, particularly when he does not go out with you shopping or for a ride, then the work is paramount. But he has been going out each day. Give us a moment. The soreness in the joints will now begin to diminish simply because the first activation was bound to present some friction as the joints began to move from a state of relative rigidity. The heat cushions that effect, hence the frequent inner heat treatments. Ralph noted Jane was experiencing these effects today and tonight, etc. They said the squatting exercise was difficult for two reasons, one having to do with beliefs, and the second to do with the soreness about the joints. The belief has to do with letting down, of course, and I will have more to say about this. That same belief has to do with sitting on the toilet. Now, he has done well dealing with body beliefs as he was presented with them in periods of passive relaxation. What we want to get across is the idea that motion is spontaneous. To let go is to let go. In his belief system, it seemed to him that to let go was to stop. Therefore, relaxation became a dirty word, where nothing was done. In relaxation periods, then, he is apt to worry. Things will not get done. He feels guilty. He wonders how far along with the relaxation he should go. The body's mobility, its freedom, its agility, and its creativity is dependent upon its ability to relax, to give itself up to itself, and therefore to the source of its being, to let go, in which case it is supportive, agile, and unhampered. Ram noted forcefully. They said these sentences should now clear up that seeming contradiction between relaxation and doing that he has felt for so long. Relaxation is the springboard from which physical actions come. Now, do you want a break? Ralph said. We might as well. They said, now each person chooses his parents, accepting interests of environment and heredity, a bank of various characteristics, attitudes, and abilities from which he draws in physical life. There is always a reason, and so each parent will represent to each child as unspeakable symbol, and often the two parents will represent glaring contrasts and different probabilities, so that the child can compare and contrast divergent realities. Ruber's father to Ruber meant laxness, relaxation to the extreme, without drive or fire, responsibility or control. Ruber's mother meant will, drive, power, for she had power over the household and over Ruber, but that power went nowhere, for Ruber's father was physically free, while his mother was not. Ruber thought he had to make a choice. If will and power meant relative immobility, but purpose, and purpose was what he had, then in the past he chose that above what he thought of as laxness, relaxation, and physical freedom that might mean frittering away ability, a relaxation in which nothing was accomplished. His parents represented two extremes. His mother represented will untempered by spontaneity or relaxation, quite frankly a will for power over others. She made other people supply her wants, and was a despot. She was filled with energy, however, and purpose. Ruber's father represented the other extreme, with no firm purpose, seemingly driven will-nilly, and accomplishing nothing. Both parents could be highly destructive, however, Ruber's father when he was drunk, and Ruber's mother generally. Ruber chose the parents to see the contrast and learn the best way for him in which purpose could be combined with spontaneity. The will with the spirit. He had to see what both extremes were extremes, not practical or idealistic. All of this applied to his mental, psychic, spiritual, and physical life, and his overall purpose. Now he is free to appreciate and use the energy shown to him by his mother in condensed dramatic fashion, tempered and freed by the free-flowing air of the father, and the physical mobility and sense of exploration that he represented. The Christian Science background with the father was also important, for it was this inner belief of the father that did sustain him, and that inclination of the father and his mother. Rob noted, Marty. They said that Rupert chose in his background to temper his own mother's beliefs and lead him in our direction. The daughter triumphs for the parent, then. The same applies in its own way to each individual, where the conditions and challenges and the solutions as well are given in the chosen background. So the way applies in its own way to you. Your father represented what you thought of as the secret, isolated, creative self, more or less at odds with the world, unappreciated by it in family or financial terms. The alone, artistic self you thought unable to communicate, inarticulate and dumb, locked away from close communication with others, and indeed barraged by misunderstandings because of its very creativity, emotionally frozen, afraid to show itself. Your mother represented the opposite in your mind, the emotionally explosive, suffocating immediacy of female life and earthly ties, social commitment, homey chores, and distractions that seemed to be directly opposed to solitary creativity. We come back to will and freedom, discipline and purpose. Rupert's background with his mother and his beliefs in will, they merged with your feelings for isolation from your father. Rupert blacked out emotional spontaneity, feeling that his father was lax. You blacked out emotional spontaneity, feeling that your mother's was detrimental to creative isolation. At the same time, you admired Rupert's spontaneity. You trusted it, however, only because it was merged with creative purpose. He therefore used it only for such purpose, not wanting to frighten you with it otherwise because he loved you also. He was also afraid of spontaneity, not related to creativity, because of his feeling that his father went willy-nilly and produced nothing. In solving his dilemma, which was the creative one, the both of you triumphed for yourself and for your parents. Only by self-examination can you see how these issues merge in all areas of your living, and then project the ideas outward for others. Rupert going out walking goes for both of you. You, relating far better than you even did with others, go out for both of your parents. Your mother knows that. Encourage Rupert's physical spontaneity now. You symbolically encourage your own inner spontaneity, and both of you recognize that. Give us a moment. There are reasons set by you because of the nature of your purpose, so that your best work will come later in your lives. Your mother realizes how she is opening avenues through which you understand more than you did, and she knows that you follow her on journeys of which other family members are ignorant. Lauren and Dick also chose the situation. Each parent also represented opposites to them, but different ones, and so they saw your parents differently. Do not lose contact with Dick. He is more like a son to you and Rupert than a brother or brother-in-law. I want you to see that all of this makes more sense in many areas than you may have realized. Rupert's physical state is assured. Forget the day-by-day patterns. He will be free of them, so that nothing is noticed at the worst. At the best, he will establish a condition of extraordinary flexibility, which is still up to him. But the beliefs have changed enough so that the improvements will come and the walking will be remedied. He may go beyond this to achieve an unusual flexibility. That, however, is a probability as of now. For the weak, take this session and the remarks given, then the point of power as given in my book, done by each of you daily without fail. Rupert is to read more of my book this week. The understanding from this session will be of great benefit. I bid you then a fond good evening. Rob said, "Thank you, Seth. Good night." Rob noted as I type this the next evening, while class is in progress, Jane is enjoying another lengthy relaxation. Both of us have done the point of power. Lauren and Dick are my young brothers.